Hello, everyone. You're welcome to UNMASC Lifestyle live stream. So today we're going to be talking about health behavior. Health behavior is our topic today. So I am so glad to have all these many people in the house. I've got Amako KK. You are so welcome. Mega shout out to you, my dear sis. Health issues with Deborah. You're welcome. Really appreciate your presence. Chief Ngozi Joy Kitchen. I am so glad to have you. You're welcome and thank you for coming to this live stream. Longest time, yes, I know. Chief Ngozi, it's been a long time, yeah. But I'm so glad you're here. Deborah, thank you for coming. You're just right on point, on the dot, 7 p.m. here. You're so welcome. I'm so glad to have you all here to brainstorm. And I can tell you right away, if you would like to come on, I think I can try to invite you if you have something really special you want to talk about. I'll be very happy to have you on board. Oh my goodness, Nicole. Wow, Yemi, my dear darling. Oh my goodness, I am so glad to have you here in this forum. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're doing well. Thank you all the way from Calgary there. Really appreciate you. I think this one is a bit, and I have my honorable husband. Glad to be here. I'm so glad to have you as my dear husband. Thank you so much for all your support. Really appreciate it. So today we are, and I have to tell you, disclaimer right now, I'm not going to be the only one talking in this conversation. It's a forum. So I really would appreciate your input. If you have any experience or something you want to share, because this is for us all to grow in health and just grow like never before. We just want to share ideas, bounce it around, and then, grow with each other. So Einstein TV, you are so welcome. Thank you for that honorable thumbs up. So please, if you have not given the stream a thumbs up, kindly do so, please. We love the thumbs up. Really appreciate all of your presence. So when we say, let's talk about health behavior, when we say health behavior, what do we mean by that? What do we mean by health behavior? Happy new month to you, Einstein TV. Thank you. So when we say health behavior, what do we mean? I like your ideas. I like to hear what you guys all have to say. When you saw the topic, what was the first thing that came to mind for you? What was the first thing that came to mind? What did you think? What would you say health behavior means? I just want to hear from you all. It's a forum, so we're here to converse and bounce and brainstorm. So when you heard health behavior, what was the first thing that came to mind for you? Okay. So when we say health behavior, what do we mean? Health behavior can be those related behaviors that we act on that actually could affect mortality. Here, host, I'll be running you here. That would be fantastic, Stein. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, health issues with Deborah, you saying. The first thing that came to my mind was regular washing of hands with plain soap and water. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. I love that. I love that. That is totally, totally, totally part of it. Wow. Great job. Thank you for sharing that mindset with us. So the first thing that came to mind for health issues with Deborah was washing of hands with soap and water. You know, with COVID, we couldn't stop washing our hands now. We couldn't stop doing all the right things for us. You know, COVID has actually brought some sanity to us, you know, in as much as it's affected us in various ways that we couldn't even begin to imagine or talk about. So health, behavior, are the behaviors that could affect the things we act on, our action that could actually affect mortality. You know, certain actions that we take as people, even though they are very minor actions, they could affect our mortality, you know? And when we say mortality, what do we mean? It's like death rate. So, can you imagine thinking from the example that health issues have given us now? She said, just washing of hands. Just washing of hands, as little as washing of hands could actually affect so many more things. Yes, it does. You know? So, and these actions that we take, the health behavioral actions, could actually be intentional, and they could be things that we do unintentionally that may end up either promoting or even enhancing our health to prevent health problems. So for instance, let's use the washing of hands that health issues have given us here. She said washing hands with plain soap and water. For instance, somebody goes to the washroom, the toilet, let me use the word toilet, and then just comes, you know, let's say the person uses number 2, and their hand somehow touches it, and they came out of that toilet and just zooming out and not washing their hands. You know how that little mistake could affect so many more things? Because they could touch somebody, they could touch the food, and then it begins to build up into something else. And these are the minimum things that could even end up coming back to even fight people that were not even involved in your washing of your hands. Innocent people that are just sitting out there, and your little error has affected their lives in ways that you couldn't even imagine, because we all are different. We have allergies, and we have what bothers Mr. A might not bother Mr. B. So that is why it's washing of hands could actually be, it sounds very minor, but it's huge, you know? So, you know, sometimes these things, the actions that we take, you know, even whether it's intentional or unintentional, it could have actually either enhance our health or ruin it. You know, just like the example that I just gave you. And Sometimes the actions that we take, the health behavioral action that we take, might actually be to achieve some positive image, you know. Maybe you're taking your own health action or health behavior because your environment requires certain standards that you're wanting to keep up with. And I don't think there's any harm in that, provided it is positive. There is anything that anybody is doing that is positive, that is good for everyone that is concerned, I think is good. The only time our actions are very negative is when the action that we take affect other people in a very negative or, is deficient, you know. So, so the action, whether intentional or unintentional, let it be something that will bring positivity to us and to our environment. You know, and this day and age, sometimes like talking about the image, the body image part of the decisions or behavior, the health behavior that we take could actually be, if it's, let's say, our society, our environment, drive us to have certain stature, because when we talk about health action, we're coming to that, let's say, for instance, we're talking about obesity. Chifinga's Kitchen, yes, thank you for that. Purple heart, love it, thank you. So let's say we're talking about obesity and you're in an environment where people are wanting to look all skinny and skimpy and, hey, hello to the chat. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate your support here, your presence. Happy catching up you live. Thank you. I'm so glad to have you here, to Kevin. Yeah, thank you. So we're talking health behavior, So if your environment is that encourages you to keep healthy, keep slim and things like that, yeah, maybe it's positive. So we can even align with that to help us to be. Oh, thank you so much to the chat for sharing me out. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing me out. And if anybody else want to share me out, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. So let's talk about, so what do we actually classify as, risky? Do we say risky health behavior? We could say risky health behavior. Most times I have in this conversation, we talk about staying positive, but there's no harm in touching those things that are very negative that we actually have to think about. So some of the health behavior that are classified as risky would be things like smoking. Like I said, I would like your contribution. What do you guys think would count as risky health behavior? We're talking about health behavior. What would you classify? I just said one. I said smoking. What would you, in your opinion, what would you think would be some of the healthy behavior that are not very good for us? I'd like your contributions, please. Thumbs up, gift. Hello. Yeah, I think. Wow, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That is so cool of you, Stein TV, for giving me that double whammy. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I will continue. Just type in if you think, whatever you think will be counted as some risky health behavior. Yeah, health issues with Deborah shared me out. Thank you so much for doing that. Really appreciate that. Thank you. So, we could talk about alcohol, you know, as overuse. When whatever I'm talking about here is we're just brainstorming and discussing it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do all of this, but we're just talking about what is really not good for us and what is good for us. Then the onus is on all of us to make our own decisions. So we're talking about drinking overwhelmingly alcohol. Moderation in anything is good. But unfortunately, the first thing I mentioned was smoking. When it comes to smoking, I don't think, like I said the last time, that since I started looking at, what experts have to say on some of these issues, I've not seen where there's an advantage for smoking apart from the happy hour that you get out of it. So drinking alcohol is, when they talk about drinking alcohol, it's always focused on drinking in moderation, so that it's not like drinking alcohol becomes an abomination for somebody who wants to drink it. So alcohol can be good for you depending on what you're drinking and how much you're drinking of it. Hello, Wendy Space. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you for that amazing thumbs up. I appreciate that. Thank you. So we're talking about health behavior. Hi, my beautiful namesake. Yes, my own beautiful one. Thank you so much, Wendy Space. So you can talk about drug use as one of those risky behaviors, risky health behaviors that knowingly or unknowingly, maybe because now it's a habit of ours that we put up, then it's unfortunate we may not be able to control it. Okay, binging. Health issues with Deborah, she's saying binging, uncontrollable intake of food and drinks like alcohol. Yes. Food, in as much as research tells us that food is like 80% part of what, healthy living, lifestyle. Yet, like health issues with Deborah is saying here, food can also become, something bad when we overdo, when we overeat so in other words, balance in everything we do is key. I always say balance is best. Overdoing of anything, when we eat food and we eat in excess, then it becomes overeating and then it causes more harm to us. So thank you so much, Health Issues with Deborah. I really appreciate your input. So drug use is one of those. Unprotected sex, for those that, Lady D, Pretty Gold, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. She's saying good evening to everyone. Lady D, Pretty Gold, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your presence here. So we're talking about health behavior. So now we're talking about what are the risky parts of the behavior that we put on, because health behavior could be intentional or unintentional actions that we take that could actually end up affecting our mortality. Oh my goodness, Naisha James. Oh my gosh, it's been such a hi, Chinwe. How are you here passing through? Wow, even just typing it is just big. Great to see you, Naisha. Thank you so much. Thumbs up, Lady D, Pretty Gold. Thank you for the amazing thumbs up. Good morning, everyone. Naisha James is saying good morning, everyone from my world. Oh my gosh, all the way from Jamaica. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your presence here. Yeah, so look at that. It's so interesting. You are in the morning, like North America, and I am in this part of the world, the Middle East, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That's where I'm doing this live from, and it is our night here. It's about 7:20 p.m. Naisha James, congratulations, gone in your IK. Yes, 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 yes. I'm yet to do my celebration, my shout out for my 1K. I'm still planning to do that, you know. I am so, so happy for you. Well done. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. I'm proud of you too. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thumbs up to you, honey. Thank you. Really appreciate your support and all. So unprotected sex, you know, I know there was a time in this world when people got scared of unprotected sex because of AIDS, HIV. But now I don't know if people are still thinking about it. But it's not just HIV we get out of unprotected sex. I think there are many more things that, you know, endangerment of our lives that could come out of it. So it is part of those health behaviors that we want to avoid. Poor diets. You know, you couldn't talk about congratulations. Thank you, Lady D, Pretty Gold. Thanks a lot. You know, you couldn't talk about health without talking about diet. You know, when you say health, the first thing that comes to mind is diet. You will see me more soon. Oh, wow, that would be wonderful. I look forward to that, Naisha Games. I look forward to it so badly. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Thanks. You know, so diet is key in decisions that we take, our health actions. We have to make sure we feed the system right. Like health issues with Deborah mentioned overeating. We have to eat, but not overeat. Then we have to eat right. We have to know what we're eating, you know, and how we prepare what we're eating. Because you may be eating the same thing with somebody else, and the way you prepare it actually will make a whole world of difference, you know. Wendy Space, who's still here making dinner. Okay, pass your dinner when you finish so we can all enjoy it. I'm sure it's yummy. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it, you know. Yes, good evening, Naisha. Yeah. So we talk about doing things like, you know, we talk about physical exercise when we talk about benefits, you know. Good evening, Nation James. Okay. Health issues. Nation James, if you're still here, health issues is saying good evening to you, you know. So, and before we go into, I know most of the items that I'm talking about today is actually, we're talking about the bad part and then just a little bit of the good part, because today we just want to mention all of those, you know, more. For some reason today, I kind of feel like if we contribute to this conversation, most of it will be things that we're not supposed to be doing, and then some of the things that we're supposed to be doing, you know. Physical exercise are one of those things that would help us to say we are making healthy decisions. So that means healthy behavior when we decide. And if we decide, you see, when you talk about physical activity, we could decide not to even indulge in it. We might even decide that we don't want to even engage in physical activity of any sort. So you see, so you have one thing that you can decide, okay, I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it, but it's up to you what you choose. But the main thing is that knowledge is power. when we know that these things can be beneficial to us, then it's up to us what we want to do with that information. You know, when you talk about overeating or you talk about decisions we make in diet, or with the diet part of it, you talk about overweight, you talk about obesity. I gave my first example was on obesity. You know, if you're in an environment where the let's use your society or your environment or your community do not shy away from, your physical look. If you were here at the beginning, I talked about some of those actions that we take for our health behavior. Some of our health behavioral actions might be based on our environment. The way our environment sees certain things might actually become the norm or whatever. So our environment actually go a long way in helping us determine the behavior that we choose. Even our families, even our friends, all of these things actually contribute to some of the decisions that we make when it comes to health behavior. So this health behavior cannot just be talked about in isolation without bringing in all of these factors that could affect it. Our society, our environment, our community, our friends, our families, and things like that. Those are all of the things. Thank you, Lady D. Pretty gold, interesting. I need all your contribution. If you have any idea or something you want to share with the group, please type it in. And if you feel like you want to come up here and if you have something you want to talk about, you can come on and we can talk about it. So just to let you all know. So yeah. So that's so these are all of the factors. So when we talk about health behavior, we have to put into consideration so many factors, but we're going to get to that because it's even more than just your family and your friends and so many factors that affect this. So stay on, let's keep talking about it. We can talk about, when we talk about drug use, so these are all of the factors. So when we talk about health, it's coming out. Okay. When we talk about the drug use, we're bringing things like tobacco, could be even, in Canada right now, some of those drugs have been, people can just take whatever they want because they were thinking of economic way of it. Because instead of people so now it's open for anybody to use some of these drugs. And you see that even when the government decides to just let these things open, doesn't mean that people now go crazy. Sometimes even when you stop people from taking it, that they want to take more of it. So right now in Canada, it's open. So it's no more like something for the rich or for the poor. Anybody who can afford it, you have to be certain age, you show your ID card, you can get it. But I've not seen a lot of people lying drunk on the street or under the influence. So it just depends on our decisions that we make, how we can control. Deborah was talking about controllable. It's about also self-control. When we know that certain things that we do, we have to be precautious about it. Then comes in our self-control factor to know when do we know when to say no? When do we know when to stop? We have to be able to say to ourselves, it's time to stop. Like in everything we do, it's just like disciplining yourself. Like for a student who goes to school, if you don't study or you don't do what you're supposed to do, then you might not achieve your goal. So in everything we have to be able to say, I have to discipline myself so that you don't end up in abuse. Abuse, when we talk about abuse, those are all health issues, health behaviors. Even when people get abused in their families or in school or in your workplace or anywhere, they're all health behavior that could be detrimental to somebody's life or to somebody's, that could affect people on a longer term. So that is why we really have to think about the behavior that we put up, because they could become health behavior. Because when you abuse somebody, it's affecting them emotionally. Their mental health is disorganized, and that becomes unhealthy behavior. Then this unhealthy behavior is actually affecting somebody. May not affect you who is the abuser, but the abused is the one who is taking the brunt of it. Health issues with Deborah says, garbage in, garbage out. So true. Totally, totally. You just know all those right words. So true. Garbage in, garbage out. We talk about food as, all those old sayings that you are what you eat. Your environment affects you. It's your garbage in. Because maybe it's your experience. You're coming with the experience. That's why as parents, we have to even be so careful. Because the kids, our children, kind of sponge on us. They sponge whatever behavior we put up. And then later in life, we wonder, how does this child get this kind of behavior? The child gets the behavior not because you're telling them, don't do this, don't do that. That child is getting the behavior from our behavior because they just sponge us up. They just soak up everything you're doing. They don't even listen to what you say most times. The kids are mostly watching your actions. My mom would say, even the child, the baby you're breastfeeding is watching your face. As you breastfeed a baby, that baby is watching your face and know when you're angry or when you're happy. That's why for new mothers, watch it if you're not happy and you're breastfeeding that baby. That baby, you watch the baby and see the baby is not happy. The baby is watching you and feels that my mother is not happy. And sometimes you see this child start crying because they read your emotions. So the children, they just sponge up the behavior that they experience in the home. And then this behavior, if it is intentional, that's why parents will have to be intentional and know that we are role models for people. Some of us may not have had the opportunity to know all of this information, but for new parents, it's very important. If you have the advantage to learn anything about early childhood education and things like that, it is so important because that would help you to intentionally make decisions and behave in a way that you would model for your child, so that child, hey, hello, Chizube, thank you for coming, my dear, beautiful one. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you, beautiful host. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate your presence. So there we're talking about health behavior, and we're talking about the decisions, actions that we take that affect our world, affect us, affect mortality. Because some of those actions that we take, from little things that we think they are minor, they might end up into becoming a bigger elephant. So that is why we have to just tread with care and be careful. Good evening, Chizube. Thank you. So We talked about unprotected sex, which is irresponsible sex behaviors, or on the other hand, it could be responsible because sex is good, but you have to do it responsibly. So, so that's one thing that is bad and is good. So it depends on how you're managing it, what you're doing with it, who are you doing it with. You know, some things you don't just have to do. Oh, welcome, Christian, sir. Yes, good to be here, Christian. Oh, my favorable, my own dear in-law, Christian Miranini. Thank you for coming. Good to be here. Despite busy schedule, I know how busy you are. Really appreciate that you always support me. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And health issues with Deborah is saying, hello, welcome, dear Christian, sir. Thank you. Yes. So we have to really think about the behaviors that we decide we choose, you know, health behavior. Health behavior. We have to choose carefully. We have to make those decisions carefully because it might just be affecting somebody who is so innocent that is around us, and the person this is going to affect them. You know, sometimes when Christians pray, we say, God, even unknown sin, because maybe you have put up some behavior that has killed somebody, or some behavior that have affected somebody in such a way to the extent that they get overwhelmed and it's affected their lives in a very, very negative way. So we need to be very careful with our behavior, health behavior. You know, we have to choose right. We have to choose to do those things that would, because when you think about yourself, you think about those things that would affect you and know that if they're going to affect you negatively, maybe, or in most cases, they would affect other people negatively. So for the fact that it's negative for you, you don't want to go doing it to other people because that's not you. So we have to choose because that behavior could even cost somebody their mental health, health behavior. So we're choosing right so we don't end up causing other people's mental health problem. I don't know if anybody has any contribution. Please type it in, I would say it. And if you want to come up here to say something, I can bring you up, please, because this is a conversational issue and forum. I want everybody to benefit from it. I want us all to gain from this conversation. To at least we have to, even if it's a little salt, to touch our world, our community, anywhere we are, we can just be the little light there, So injuries, because all of this behavior, health behavior can cause injury, it can be through violence. I talked about abuse, let's say you're in a home where somebody is beating somebody all the time, and someday the person collapses or even dies, or you damage a part of their body, or so little things that you don't even think about could actually become a bigger mountain. That's why we need to have some self-control. Self-control will be one thing that can help us to manage our behavior, because we want to choose the healthy behavior, So these days we also talk about the environment, green environment. We talk about it. How can we protect? I know some people think it's a conspiracy theory that the environment is not polluting, but I know that if we all litter the street where we live in our environment, our street, let's say our street where we live, we eat, we drop the bags, the paper, everything is going into the landfill and or going into the ocean, and the fish that is going to come out of it is not going to be healthy for us. You see how everything just evolutionary, everything just rolls into the other. You know, it's like the circle of life. We have to know that our environment is also part of us. So we want to keep it clean. When we use a paper bag, we put it in the right place so that it is recycled. So all of these are all the health behavior. We think about our environment, our food, the people around us, the actions that we take, the behaviors that we put up, how we treat other people could even affect them in a way that we never can imagine. So when we talk about health behavior, it's just about everything from food, because health behavior is not just about the food we eat. So it's about almost everything. Every decision we make, involves a lot of things, you know. So apart from food and some of all of these things that I have mentioned, and the contributions Deborah talked about, washing or just merely washing of hands with plain soap and water. Look at that. As simple as that may sound, that is huge, you know? So, all of this, what are some of those things that we can do to even help us even more with our health? You know, what are those things? Well, we talk about the physical activity. The physical activity, we talked about it. Because when we decide that we want to do the physical part of the activity, okay, we are helping our cardiovascular part of our bodies, That's why everybody talk about exercise. You talk about food, you talk about exercise, then before you begin to talk about all of these things, then your behavior, actions, everything just affects everything. So that's what we mean when we're talking health behavior, So the experts, people continue to research on all of these things that affect us to see how one thing affects us and how the other things. Research have shown that health-related behavior is one of the most vital elements in people's health and well-being. And when you say health-related behavior, all of these things that we have mentioned, in one way or the other, they affect our health. And most research actually focus on those things that affect our health when it comes to human beings. What are the things that affect your health? Nobody's going to be talking what are the things when it comes to us. What are the things that affect, when you talk about the environment, how does it affect our health? When you talk about this, how does it affect? So you see, everything at the end of the day go back to us, how it affects us, how it doesn't affect us, what builds us up and what puts us down. So that is why health behavior is so key, in as much as we're still going to talk about diet and exercise and all of that. But now we're talking about all of this. So many things are affected. So and with the COVID, in the beginning I talked about when Deborah mentioned the washing of hands with the COVID now. Before we used to think health-related behavior, very interesting. Yes, Chizube. Yes, before COVID, people at a time we actually almost forgot sanitation. People almost forgot about sanitation before COVID. But COVID, that was why I said in the beginning that COVID actually, in a way, is bringing our senses back to basic things that actually really matter. I'm sure that before COVID, a lot of us, they never thought that even just sitting down to have a coffee with somebody was anything big. The other day somebody was talking about just sitting down to just have coffee was just like a privilege. Because those things that meant a lot because of before COVID, we took them for granted. But now, so just like COVID is bringing back sanitation, the principle, the health principle has actually grown as much as, like think about sanitation. Think about sanitation, washing of your hands, cleaning your environment, doing all those basic things, like when you're going to eat wash your vegetables, think about it, So we couldn't say thank you to COVID because COVID has done more harm to us, but it's helped us to come back to our senses, and just like, like even medicine, I mean the medical field, have actually also grown in the sense, not with COVID, just on its own, because when you're talking about Sylvia Link, hello everyone. Thank you, Sylvia, for coming. Thank you so much. Happy to have you here. We're talking about health behavior, So, like some of those diseases in the past that were incurable, now medicine is improving, everything is improving. So it's on us to actually see what are the best things for us to incorporate into our lives to help us and help people around us, So let's talk about thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up, Sylvia Link. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your presence here. So when we talk about what are those things that are determinants of health, healthy determinants of health, and I mean in the sense that we choose the positive part of healthy behavior, And I'm going to mention, hello, Amaka. Amaka, thank you so much, my dear sis. Thank you so much. I was actually greeting you in the beginning when I saw your name. Thank you so much for your presence, my dear Dr. Amaka. I appreciate it. Hello, thanks. So determinant of health and the choices we are making, what's determinants there? You talk about the income, social status could be one of those things that might even help us to make, but we shouldn't even stop at that. In as much as our income or social status is what even help us to think about it, to be aware of it, So it shouldn't be limited to that. That's why you help your neighbors, you help your community, you talk about it, because knowledge is power, Oh, thank you so much for sharing me out, Sylvia Link. Really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you for sharing me out. Yes. So income and social status, support network, your support, just like your community, your family, could be one of those things that could help you to lean into making the right choices or to choose or what determines the part of the health behavior that you choose. Your support network. Education. I talk about education, knowledge is power. You know, if we never knew that washing of hands, as little as it is, that it could cause mortality. That action, that little action, that's the minimal action, just washing of hands. It's huge. If we never knew the side effect of not washing of your hands, we may never want to wash our hands, or we may never take it seriously. But now we all know that washing of hands is minimal, is as little but can go a long way to help us to stay healthy. You know? So education, when we get that education, like we're talking about it, some of us, like with the COVID now, the whole world is aware, hopefully. Hopefully the whole world is aware that sanitation has become key. It's actually crucial. It's essential. It is important that sanitation become part of who we are. You know, that is health behavior, the good part of it. So, determinants is what we're talking about. What determines those part of health decisions that we make, health behaviors that we choose to act on? Could be employment, because you have employment, you have money to be able to do little things, then you can pay more attention to those things. COVID has brought back personal hygiene. Yes, it does. Yes, the health issues with Deborah, COVID has brought you saying, she said, COVID has brought back personal hygiene. Yes, totally, it's brought it back. Because at a time, we almost lost our minds, you know? We took a lot of things for granted. And now, thank God, we're realizing what is important. You know? I talked about your social environment. You know? I talk about your social environment, and, you know, it helps you to make that decision. Which side am I going to choose? You know, the health, or what behavior do I put up? You know, your physical environment, the physical environment, the social environment. You know, the more literate you are, the more you're aware, the more you pay attention. Then it's up to you to now intentionally hug it and practice it. You know, yeah, COVID really taught us sanitation. Yes, it does. Yes. Sylvia Link says, yes, so yes, yes. And Chizube said, yay, COVID really taught us sanitation. And Sylvia Link is saying that is true. Yes, it did. It did bring us back to our senses. You know, we also talk about things like personal health practices. You know, things it's like self-control. Things you can manage by yourself. Like you can help yourself to think, you know what? Maybe I need to put in 20 minutes of just making sure I stay active in a day, instead of just sit down on the couch, hold your remote control, and if you have a maid, you just order them around. Oh, bring me water, bring me this. Just get up, go get that water. That's your sanity of just moving yourself. You know? Just think about, instead of sending your maid to get you water, except when it's absolutely necessary. Get up, just go. Think about it as this is my movement period. I have to move myself, you know? So those are those things that you can intentionally just say to yourself, I have to do this. And we can practice. We all have to be practicing this. It's not for any one person because we are subject to behave in such a way that once we have somebody to send around, we just sit there and just say, bring that, bring this, do that, and then we just sit and never move, you know. So we're talking about social environment, physical environment, personal health practices, and coping skills. When we talk about coping skills, we could talk about things like being positive when something happens, the way you accept it and the way you try to manage it will help you to actually even manage it, you know? So to think, oh, I want to stay positive. I want to stay positive, especially when it comes to something that you cannot change, then it becomes important that we learn to be able to manage and process that information and try to control ourselves. You know, that's why knowledge is good because the more we talk about something, the more we are more prone to even beginning to adapt to those things and trying to learn on how to behave in such a way that it would affect us positively. So, and we can also talk about things like childhood development. Remember, I said, we as parents, when we have young people around us, they're not listening to us. They're only soaking whatever we do. So, so when we have young people, we have to be very intentional, like I said. We have to learn to be intentional because those young people, we model for them like no man's business. They just soak it all up. You know, how in those days I know when our parents are not at home, we kind of, demonstrate their behaviors kind of thing. We we try to act like them. So you're like just watching a movie when your parents are there, you're just watching every behavior they put up. And the children, you just soak it up as a child. So we need to know that our behavior affects our children's life on the long run because they soak it up. If you are abusive, your child will just be soaking up all of this bad behavior, you know? So let's think about it that way. Oh, Angie, Fitness Hub, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Angie, Fitness Hub, for coming. Thanks a lot. We're talking about health behavior, you know? So, so the child is picking up all of this. If it's a bad behavior, or you think about it, most people that actually smoke, the children learned from their parents. So it's an experience. So they watch the parents doing this, and then before you know it, they're doing it. If you are abusive, your child is soaking on it. And then the child, before you know it, becomes an abuser. Your generation might tolerate abusiveness, but their generation may not tolerate it. And what happens? This health behavior that maybe that generation are tolerated, the next generation might say, sorry, this is it's a zero tolerance generation. And that child is going to suffer because one adult or adults couldn't control themselves. then this child becomes the person who pays the price for parents' behavior. Sometimes when you think about it, it's really kind of can get you very emotional, that an adult doesn't even think about the fact that their behavior might affect their child in the very long run. So we really, really, we all need to think about it. We need to think about what are healthy behaviors that we want to put on, So most research focus on immediate influence that something had on something. When COVID came, COVID had a big impact. It was killing, because if COVID had come and didn't come with that big impact of killing people, maybe nobody would have paid any attention to it. But when COVID came, that's why you saw the vaccination became something that everybody was looking forward to. Like, how can we deal with this COVID that came, and shut the entire world down? So research focus on that, and they focus on health because all of these things affect us. We are humans, and that's why we are the ones that it affects. So we have to make decisions to choose the right path. Whether we like it or not, our environment, our families, our friends, they affect our behavior. So that's why I'm talking about families, parents, role model for your child. We have to all try our best because it's not easy for us to do this. But we have to try. Especially when we talk about it, how we don't want to talk about anything. Because some things, you don't want to talk about them. But those things, if we don't want to talk about them and we can stop doing them, then it's fine. But when we don't want to talk about it and we cannot stop doing them, then it becomes a big problem. So that's, to think that those behaviors, because when you see that, for instance, you see those children behaving in certain ways, that's why when you talk to an expert, they will ask you so many questions. They will relate these things to your family. How do the family behave? They start asking you about your life history, your family history, your background, because they want to know if such behavior, like somebody who is using drug anyhow, they will ask you, do the parents use drug? Because some of these behaviors are from experience. They are things they are learned behaviors. It's not like the person just woke up one day and decided, you know what, I'm just going to do this. It's something they have watched and learned, You're eating now. You have to share your food, Sylvia Link. You have to share that your wonderful food that you cook all the time. Thank you. You have to share it. Right on, I'm here eating. Thank you. If you guys can also connect, if you meet each other. We have all these amazing content creators in the house, and then I have my family here as well. You guys can connect if you don't know each other. Felicitat, wow, thank you for coming. Really appreciate your presence. Hello, host. Good to see you. Same here. I'm so happy to see you, Felicitat. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. We're talking about health behavior. We're talking about the things that affect behavior, and then we wonder why the person have that behavior. We're just saying that those behaviors may have been learned behaviors because the individuals may have been watching adults that is around them. Felicitat is not a content creator. She's my friend that is supporting me here. So Felicitat, so you see, they're giving you all of this link because they want to connect with you. They think you're a content creator. But definitely she can look at, we have all of these amazing content creators in the house. You know, Felicitat, if you want to check them out, that would be wonderful. So Sylvia Link, she's not a content creator. Yeah. So that's determine the reason specific health actions and behavior. Yeah, because the child is watching and learning, or the individual in their environment, because those are the things we talked about: your social environment, your physical environment, your community as a whole can actually affect your health behavior. You know, so whether you choose the good health behavior because of the status or because your community has a certain standard, provided it's good, then it's great. That when we choose it and it's a negative one because our influence, you see how sometimes when people say, oh, you're raising a child in this neighborhood, oh yeah, the child is gonna go crazy because the neighborhood is this or in drugs and all of that. Yes, because the environment affects, because we all are different. The environment may not even affect, let's say you have, the individual have 3 children. The environment may actually affect one child or 2 of the children and may never even affect one because we all are different. But we couldn't say how the environment could impact somebody unless we begin to see the impact on them, you know? So I really start. So Sylvia Link, I'm not even sure you're listening to me. Felicitat is not a content creator. Yeah. Yeah, but she can surely check you out when she has time. Yeah. So when we talk about health behavior, it is so dynamic that we couldn't say that this is what is going to affect us in this way. We couldn't really explain all of the dynamics of what is going to affect what and to what extent it's going to affect it. You know, even in some cases, your culture, the gender. You know how sometimes when you talk about gender, you talk about women looking slim and all of that, and then men don't even care, you know? It's like you're talking, watching your weight and what you eat is just for women, and the male gender is not for them because they eat what they want and, they are heroes, It's interesting, So some of those things that could have, health behavior is quite dynamic. So the culture may affect it. I remember in those days when women have to actually really look chubby because you have to showcase that your family can feed you properly, you know? But things have changed. But still, your culture can affect your health behavior, the gender, the age group. I talked about abuse may be tolerated in this generation. Maybe the next generation, it will be zero tolerance for abuse. So that's why we have to try our best to help our young people so that they're not lonely. Because if we do not help them to learn the good health behavior, they might be lonely in the long run. Because if their generation do not accept or have zero tolerance for abuse, it will be tough for them because then they have learned this behavior. And when it's learned, it's tough. You know how they tell you a fool at 40 is a fool forever? Sometimes the person is a fool at 40 because that's all they know. it's tough to learn how, there's a saying that it's difficult to learn how to use your left hand when you never used it. When you're used to using your right hand, it's tough to learn how to use your left hand when you're at a certain age. So that's why children learn faster than parents. Absolutely. Health issues, they learn so fast, especially something wrong, something bad. But they learn even the good one so fast. Sylvia Link says, just said hi to her. Okay. I heard you. Okay. Yeah, Sylvia Link, yes. So health issues with Deborah is saying children learn faster from parents. Absolutely. And they also learn from their friends, and that's why they tell you, some sayings will say, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. At the same time, it's not everybody that those behaviors affect, but in the most part, the children, they learn from their parents so fast. They learn from their friends. They learn quickly. Even adults learn from their friends. You'll be shocked how we adults, we start doing what our friends are doing. We want to do what our friends are doing. Then let's think about children that don't even know anything. If we adults are trying to do everything our friends are doing, your friend is doing this, you're going to do that, then children don't even know. They don't even know much, So I don't know if anybody, before we conclude this conversation, if anybody has anything to say before we conclude the conversation, Yeah, is everybody having their dinner or their breakfast, depending on where you are? Yeah. So actually, for us to health behavior, actually, when we talk about health behavior, we can actually consider it from multiple levels. We consider it from different perspectives, like I was saying. What affects this person may not affect the other person, but we have to think about our diets, physical activities, we have to think about drug use, we have to think about alcohol overuse, we have to think about protected sex, we have to think about our environment, education, all of so many things. We have to think about health behavior in diverse ways from different angles to actually begin to understand how it could promote and protect health. So when we look at all of these things, then we think, how could this health behavior, would it promote our health? Would it devastate the health? So we have to look at it from various perspectives to be able to fully understand how it would help us or how it would impact our health. Because what we want to do is not to damage our health. We want to improve it. We want to enhance it. We want to protect it. We want to protect our health and the health of people around us. So that's our conversation for today. You can jump in, as I said before, if you have something that you want to share with us, an experience you have on decisions that people have taken. Hi, host. Rose Uzoma TV, you are welcome to the house. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, Chizube Chris Merenini, having dinner, learning as well. Oh my gosh, Chizube, I'm coming for that dinner. I'm coming, I'm on my way. Having dinner. I'm coming, I'm on my way. I'm sure it's yummy and delicious. Yes, Rose Uzama TV, I'm so glad to have you here in the house. Yes, you're fine. I totally get it. How is your baby doing? I'm sorry, who just saw the notification. I'm so sorry. Sorry, dear. I'm sure you're doing great. I'm so glad to have you. Thank you for coming, Rose Uzama. So we're wrapping up on this health behavior. We want to improve, we want to protect, we want to enhance it. We want to do things. I'm here, host here. Thank you. We want to do things that would help us to enhance our health behavior. Because health behavior is not something we can just do at a flip of our fingers, you know? Yes. Yeah, Chizube, good to hear. Chizube is saying that good to hear that healthy behavior promotes good health. Yes, it does. Thanks. Thank you all for coming. And I can, if you have questions, if you have contribution, you can share your experience. We're here to learn from everybody. So let us hear from you. You guys let me talk all the time. Is it because you're having dinner? It's fine. I really appreciate all of you and your presence here today. Thank you so much. So we should be rounding up very soon. Really appreciate everybody's input. Health issues. Yes, let me see if I missed anybody. Let me see, are you still here? Oh, you're running it. Thank you so much, beautiful. Thank you. So Yomi, you are invited. Chizube, I'm coming. Don't think I'm not coming. I'm on my way now. I'm on my way. Yeah. Let me see, Kanem, thank you so much for coming. My husband, thank you so much for coming. Stein TV, appreciate your presence here. Health issues with Deborah, thank you so much. Stein, thank you. Really appreciate your support. Chief Ngozi Joy Kitchen, thank you. Yes, Tuba Chat, thank you so much for sharing me out as well. Health issues. Wendy Space, my namesake, thank you for coming. Thank you for that thumbs up. Beautiful namesake, yes. Yes, health issues, being uncontrollable intake of food and drinks, yes. Yeah. Good evening. Lady D, Pretty Gold. Thank you so much. Nasha James was here. Nasha James, you guys are amazing. Love you all. Thank you so much to everybody who supported this live stream today. Chizube, Christian, Merenini, both of my favorite people. Those are my family. Thank you guys for your support. Sylvia Lynn, thank you so much. My sister Amaka, thank you, sis. Love you. Thank you. Sylvia Lynn, health issues. I'm just going through to make sure I don't miss anybody. Angie Fitness Hub, thank you. Felicita, my darling age mate, thank you so much, my dear friend. I really appreciate your support. I'm just checking to make sure. Rose Uzoma, my beautiful young woman, thank you. And yes, Rose Uzoma, you're invited. I like that. I like that. Tuba, wow, Tuba chat. Yeah, he was here. Yes, he was here. He shared me as well. That's nice. Yes. So thank you, everybody. And I don't know. I think I have 8,000 amazing people watching this now. So I'm going to call it off so that you guys can go and rest. Thank you once again. I'm coming on. Rose, Rose Uzama, do you have anything to say? Oh, okay. You're saying you're talking to Chizube. Okay, that you're coming to eat her food. I'm on my way as well. So, so you all stay blessed, and I hope you all will stay safe as well. And I have next week, yeah, on Thursday, I have a video on soup coming out on Thursday, hopefully, by God's grace. By My Health Issues by Deborah. Thank you so much. Happy new month to you as well. May God bless our new month and bless us this month of December. Amen. In Jesus' name. Amen. So, see you all soon again and stay blessed, stay safe. Bye for now. Okay, so now I end it. Ciao. Okay, I'll end it now. Thank you. Oh, you're still there. I thought you were gone. Amaka, my dear. Thank you so much. My celebration is on Saturday. Yes, I have to mark. Did you send it out? I have to put it on my, I'll put it on, I'll write it down because, oh my goodness, I'll put it down. What time is it, Deborah? Tell me what time, please. Type the time in words for me so I'll just note it now because I don't want to miss it. Congratulations again to you. That is so nice. So nice. Yeah, Deborah, tell me what time is it on Saturday? What time would it be? So that I can make a note of it. Oh, 3 p.m. Europe time. Okay. So that's like it's Europe, yeah, Europe and London, England have the same time right now, correct? Yeah. I think they have the same time because you change your time as well, correct? So that would be like my 6 p.m. here. Okay. Yeah, I've noted it. So I have it. So I'm going to not forget it. Okay, thank you all. Oh, Johnson, Gabriel TV, thank you for coming. We're actually wrapping up. Thank you so much for coming. Yes. Um, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of more. I don't know. I don't think there are more people here. So I'm going to wrap up right now. Thank you so much, Johnson Gabriel TV, for coming. If you don't mind to give a thumbs up, don't forget so that the live can enjoy your thumbs up. Okay. So hope to see you guys again next Tuesday by the grace of God. The Arabs will say, Inshallah. Inshallah. Okay, bye everyone now. Thank you, Johnson Gabriel. So catch up with you next time. It's 7 p.m. We start 7 p.m. Plus 3 GMT time. So that 7 p.m. my time is 4 p.m. England time. So we do this once a week, every Tuesday. God willing, every Tuesday, 4 p.m. England time. This is real time, 7 p.m. Take care, ma. Thank you so much, my dear Christian, my dear favorite in-law. Really appreciate your kind support. Okay, now, so I'm going to shut it off now. Thank you all. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Enjoy your new month. And see you next week.